Are you looking for the best AeroPress? In this video we will look at some of the 5 best AeroPress on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. AeroPress Original Coffee and Espresso-style Maker. If you're a longtime AeroPress owner, chances are this is the one you've got. Not much of a looker in its cloudy gray color, but it's an exceedingly high performer and has been a favorite of baristas and home brewers since it came out. Part of the reason is that it allows you to control so many of the brewing variables: water temperature, amount of coffee, grind size, and bloom and brew times. Even when you don't make a perfect cup, it's usually still pretty good. The compact size means it barely takes up more space than a mug in your kitchen, and it's fairly easy to take on a trip. Plasticky? Yes, but also durable enough that I no longer remember how long I've owned mine. I have an original and a Go, and I tend to use the former at home and take the Go on the road. If I worked in an office, I would keep an original there. Compared to the other models, it's probably the most versatile, ready to accommodate your inner nerd when you want to take a deep dive. Even if this were still the only one in existence, we'd be just as fanatical about it. Number 2. AeroPress Go Portable Coffee Maker. It never really dawned on me that the original could be improved, and in a way the Go is just a slightly smaller version, yet the changes are ingenious, allowing for it to nestle inside a mug, along with a scoop, stirrer, and little compact-like clamshell that holds filters. Pack it all up and toss it in the bottom of your suitcase for your next flight, or put it in your backpack and head for the hills. You can, of course, bring whole beans and a hand grinder, but that seems like overkill to me. Grind what you need before heading for the great outdoors, or, if your adventure is more urban, find a coffee shop at your destination, meet some locals, buy a bag, ask them to grind it for AeroPress, and ask if they have any brewing suggestions. I bet they will. Before you skip town, buy a bag of beans to grind at home and call it both a souvenir and self-care reward. The 8 ounce is obviously for the travelers out there, but if you're not too finicky, it's close enough to the 10-ounce original that owning both feels redundant. I travel a lot, so if I had to pare it down, this would be the one. AeroPress also recently released an update called the Go Plus, but this one's a bit of a dud. While the original Go is a tiny marvel, ready to make your morning cup in your kitchen or be packed into its mug and tossed in your backpack or carry-on bag, the Go Plus seems to be more angled toward commuters, with all of its brewing parts and accessories packed inside an insulated metal travel mug. 2 big problems drag it down. First, the magnetic slider on its cup lid makes drinking from it surprisingly unpleasant, as it'll likely be touching your nose as you drink, leaving you stuck in a weird nether space between making a seal and not making one. It is neither sip nor suck. Worse, unlike the original, Clear, and Go, you can't brew it into a mug with an inside diameter smaller than 3 inches. Which is to say, most mugs. It's also hard to puzzle out exactly whom it's for. Compared with the Go, it feels a little too heavy to bring along in your luggage, and if you're supposed to drink it in a car, do you just leave the brewing parts at home? At that point, you could use a normal AeroPress and just pour it into a travel mug that you like. Number 3. AeroPress Clear Coffee Press. While there isn't a huge difference between the new Clears and the original, these are our new favorites. The completely clear version is excellent for seeing what's going on inside the brewing chamber and is, clearly, better looking than the cloudy, opaque original, which could be considered our budget pick now. The many color options make it a little harder to see what's going on in there, and while we tend to be more functionally focused with our reviews, having something cheery looking that doesn't remind you of lab equipment or plumbing will certainly open doors to new users. If you already own an AeroPress, there's no reason to upgrade, but if you're just starting out, this is the place. Number 4. AeroPress XL Coffee Press. AeroPress fans have been clamoring for a bigger version of the classic brewer for years, mostly because the original's 10-ounce capacity means making coffee for more than one person can be a pain in the butt. Those fans got their wish with a model that's twice the size of the original. But bigger does not seem to be better. In fact, bigger seems a little more dangerous. While the original, Clear, and Go all use the same size cap and filter, each piece of the XL is larger. It has its own filters, and you brew into the carafe it comes with, because the XL's larger diameter makes it too big to brew directly into most mugs. It also gains a lot of height. With the plunger extended and connected to the barrel, and all of that sitting on the carafe, it's 19 inches high. In our testing, 5 feet 3 inches Seattle barista Reina Calejo from Olympia Coffee Roasting Company stood on a stool to get it to work, a balancing act involving hot liquids you likely will not want to be doing before your morning coffee, or ever, really. Using the inverted method also feels more perilous. That's half a liter of hot water you're perching high above your countertop, legs, and private parts. If you really love AeroPress, want an extra cup's worth every time you brew, and aren't put off by the potential perils, go for it. But most of us who crave more coffee would likely be better off with a different kind of brewer. Number 5. AeroPress Flow Control Filter Cap. This accessory, which attaches to all AeroPress models except the XL, is designed to keep your brewing dripless, which it does if things are working right. A ketchup bottle-style pressure-actuated valve allows the inverted averse to experiment with grind sizes and brewing times with no drip. Your coffee won't go anywhere until you press the plunger. It also is supposed to create an espresso-style crema with dark roast, which turns out to be vaguely sudsy bubbles, not the delicious, dense, caffeinated foamy goodness you might hope for. It's sort of like the peach fuzz on a teenage boy's upper lip compared to a legit bushy mustache. In fact, I did not notice much in the way of positive change that the cap had on the coffee it made. That flow control works great, though. Good luck cleanly ejecting the puck into the compost bin, without some peculiar futzing that I, and a lot of people online, never figured out. The filter and a layer of grounds tend to detach from the rest of the puck and get stuck in the cap. I had fun looking through the Amazon reviews, many of which complained about leaking, but laughed out loud at the one that hit home the most. I don't think it does anything.